Well, we also have Ted Cruz here. And Ted Cruz is duking it out just like we saw from Brett Baier last night, where he blasted his Democrat opponent's radical and extreme record during a debate. I mean, Ted Cruz slapped this guy around, man. It was like no contest. It was kind of rough to watch, I'll be honest. Not in the sense of like Ted Cruz putting on some whoop ass, but in the sense that like there was no let up. Like you're just pummeling the guy. Like chill, Ted. Chill. The guy's not prepared.
That's been a hot button issue in your Senate campaign. Congressman, your opponent is saying in political ads that you refuse to protect the integrity of women and girls sports. The most recent ad actually came out today. Congressman, where do you stand on transgender athletes in women's sports?
Well, let's be very clear. Let's be very clear about what's happening in this campaign. This is, you don't have to be a former NFL linebacker to recognize a Hail Mary when you see one. This is a desperate, last-second attempt by Senator Cruz to distract you because he can't defend his own record. Listen, I'm a dad, I'm a Christian. Of course I don't support these ridiculous things that he's talking about. But what he wants you thinking about is kids in bathrooms, so you're not thinking about women in hospitals. Because it's indefensible. It's indefensible that we have Texas women being turned away from hospitals, that she should be forced to carry that child to term and give birth to it. You think that's perfectly reasonable, but now you're going to set yourself up as a protector of women and girls? It's laughable. And listen, he's trying to distract you because what can he run on?
I think he's talking about abortion, if I have this correct. And what's crazy is he's talking about women and children, that Ted Cruz doesn't care about women and children, but this dude straight up is killing children. Like, what about the women and children? What about the woman inside the belly of the woman that you're killing? What the fuck?
Seen somebody who runs for office on what he hasn't done. He's been one of the least productive senators in the entire country. You know what? That. I talk to Texans all the time who say, I can't think of anything Ted Cruz has done to help me in my life.
Oh, shut up.
When I'm your
no
senator,
way.
I'll keep focused on the issues that matter to you, on lowering your costs, on securing the border, on restoring a woman's right to choose. That's what I'll be focused on.
Wow.
Senator Cruz, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Well, it was striking once again in that answer. He said not a word about his own record. I have to admit, the beginning of it reminded me of Kamala Harris in her debates, answering everything. Look, I was born in the middle class. It's some lines that sound nice that ignore his record. Let's just talk about his voting record. Again, you can go to allredfacts.com. You can see the actual votes. 4 times he has come out for men playing in women's sports for boys. 2, there was a bill. It was a very simple bill. It was narrowly defined. It was protecting women and girls' sports. He voted no. The only issue on that bill was whether biological boys should compete against our daughters. That's not fair. Congressman Allred was an NFL linebacker. It is not fair for a man to compete against women. The 3rd time he signed on to something called the Transgender Bill of Rights. Transgender Bill of Rights explicitly, and he co-sponsored it, mandated that boys compete against girls' sports. And just 2 weeks ago, Congressman Allred joined 100 radical Democrats in demanding that our military allow drag shows on military bases, pay for soldiers to have sex changes using taxpayer money, and pay for children to be sterilized and have sex changes on military bases. Again, that's extreme. That's not Texas,
Senator,
but that is his voting
Senator,
record.
that's your time.
Yeah.
Congressman,
well, thank you.
There's a lot to respond.
Oh my God, Ted. Ted, chill. Wow. I mean, that guy's Ted's ruthless. Ted is ruthless. And you know what? I've always said, and I will always continue to call myself on this, I was wrong about Ted Cruz. In the 2016 Republican primary, I was wrong about Ted Cruz. That was one of the few where I was just so far wrong. It's mind-blowing, and that's my fault for being ignorant. That man, Ted Cruz, has done a lot for this country in terms of your rights. If you guys want to read his book called One Vote Away, you will see the saving grace of this man in keeping certain rights for all of us. So good on Ted, and I will continue to support that man because of what he's done for our country that nobody recognizes. Seriously, read that book, One Vote Away. It will change your entire perception of not just how intelligent that dude is, but also the things he's done for this country. And he wasn't done yet. It was the whole debate, you guys. It was the whole debate. You have Ted Cruz's opponent called him a threat to democracy, but Cruz immediately flipped the script on him. Here we go.
It's not funny because you're a threat to democracy.
Sure.
I was on the House floor when we went through the votes. I remember when you objected to the results in Arizona.
Now, let me be clear. I don't know Congressman Allred. I have no animus for him personally. But I do know his voting record. His voting record is radical and extreme. And you want to talk about threats to democracy? Let's take a vote that just happened a few weeks ago on the floor of the House, the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act provided that in order to register to vote, you got to prove you're an American citizen. Congressman Allred voted no. 11.5 million illegal immigrants have come into this country under Kamala Harris and Colin Allred's open border policies, and Congressman Allred votes no to protecting our elections and ensuring that people don't vote illegally. That is a threat to democracy.
And it's not funny.
He's correct. I mean, he's right. He's right. George says, but Cruz is almost a rhino. I just disagree, man. This one I will push back on. Cruz is not a rhino. That I think you're saying that maybe from what you've seen in the media. You need to do a full deep dive into that man. That is somebody that conserves values. If you want to call him a rhino because, again, he's a registered Republican, he's more of a fiscal conservative, and he carries the rights that we all hold dear in his heart. And I'm telling you, the things that this guy has done to keep those rights in check with the Supreme Court, boy, oh boy, dude, just, again, one vote away. Check that book out. That's all I could say. We also have him just again. Well, here he is on Israel. Ted is a savage.
One of the clearest differences between Congressman Allred's record and my record. When I was elected 12 years ago, I resolved then to be the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate. And I've worked every day to do that, to stand up and fight to support Israel. I am proud to stand with Israel. Our position should be that America stands unshakably with Israel. When President Trump was president, I urged him to move our embassy to Jerusalem. He did, and I was there the day we opened the embassy in Jerusalem. And I've never seen such celebration. When President Trump was president, I urged him to pull out of the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. He did, and it was the single most important national security decision of his entire presidency. Congressman Allred has consistently lined up against Israel. At the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration, he urged them to send money to Gaza, even though it would go to Hamas. He has supported Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, flowing over $100 billion to Iran. 90% of the funding for Hamas and Hezbollah comes from Iran. I'll tell you, Congressman Allred invited a radical imam here in Dallas who calls Zionists monsters and has compared them to Nazis. Congressman Allred calls them the very best of North Texas. I don't support those who engage in anti-Semitic actions, and I will tell you the funders of the anti-Semitic protest on college campuses are among Congressman Allred's biggest supporters. We need clarity. We need to draw a line, and as for me and my home, we will stand with Israel.
Senator.
Somebody writing they've been to Texas and there's Cruz signs everywhere. I don't even know. Is it a close contest between Cruz and Colin Allred? Is it even close? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with what's going on in Texas, but I mean, I believe Texas almost went blue at one point, right? But Cruz is doing fine. I mean, he had a slip up that one time when he's going to go on vacation with his children. And there's like a massive storm going on. Really bad look for Ted there. And he knows it. He knows he messed up.